Hello, it's Sean. Today I'm going to be playing a game of Cold War Commander. It's 1985 and hostilities between the Soviet Union and NATO forces have gone hot. I'm going to be playing scenario 3 out of the book, which is a counterattack. The US will be attacking, the Soviet Union will be the defenders. So the Soviet player gets to set up 1/3 of the way onto the board, and the US player will be making a mobile deployment onto the tabletop. The scenario objectives: each player will achieve a minor objective if they earn 25% casualties on the enemy, and a major objective if they break the enemy battle group. The game is limited to 8 turns, and the attacker is going to get to go first, which is again the US. I've set up the table. We've got some fields, a little village in the middle. You can see the Russians are set up in a couple of different groups here. The US forces have their command, 3 different command units over there set up, and they'll be used to bring on the rest of their forces. I'm going to add in artillery for this game, and it's the first time I've used artillery, so we'll see if I do it right. The basics of my forces are: the Soviet player has 1 command officer. He has 2 HQ officers. The command officer has a command value of 8, and the HQ has a command value of 7. And then there are 11 T-55 tanks in that force. Total is 1,330 points. And then the US forces, because they're the attacker attacking a defended position, they get an extra 50% in points, so about 2,000 points. So their force, they have a command officer and with a command value of 9. They have 3 HQs with command value of 8. And then they have 7 M1 Abrams tanks. And then we have some artillery. So I have 2 105mm artillery units that are off board. And I believe this is the way I'm supposed to do it. When they're off board, I have to pay for scheduled artillery. So scheduled high explosive artillery is, I bought 6 rounds of it. And because I'm playing both sides, I don't want to, normally you'd pick on the board where you're going to be. Well, if I pick on the board where I'm going to be, I'm going to make sure the Russians aren't there because I don't want them to get hit. So what I'm going to do is I set out some markers on the table, and when I have that artillery come on, it's going to go to a random location. Not exactly the way it's supposed to in the rules, but for a solo playthrough, it'll work. So I'll roll a d6. There's 6 different positions that I've set out there, and we'll see how that works for our playthrough. So that's the basics of the scenario. We'll get started and see how it works out for each side. For deployment, I have split the Soviet forces into 3 different groups. I have this group with an HQ of 4 tanks there, and then here I have a commanding officer with 3 T-55 tanks with him, and then I have another group of 4 T-55s with another HQ. The American forces are using mobile deployment, so I have put out the 4 command units. I have a commanding officer and 3 HQs over there. The one over here is behind that tree. So they get to order on units, and they have 7 M1 Abrams in their force, so I'll divide them up as I call them on the board. I'll probably do 3 and 4 and just have a couple of extra command units as backup for them if I need them. For the US artillery, I've paid for 6 scheduled artillery attacks, and I have 2 pieces of artillery. So what I'm going to do is on turn 1, 2, and 4, both of those artillery will fire at the same position, and it will be a random d6 roll. And I've put out markers on the table, as I said, to determine where that fire hits. So my understanding of artillery is that scheduled artillery automatically hits the place that it is being directed at. So I'm going to roll to see which of these are affected, and it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I've got a die, and I rolled a 4. So it's going to hit here. It is a 10 centimeter radius, which means nothing's going to be hit. So we'll see what happens in the following turns. The first U.S. order is going to be this HQ unit is going to order 4 of the M1 Abrams that are off board onto the table. So it'll be a move action. Their command value for the HQ is a 8. Excuse me, I need an 8 or less to activate the unit. And I got a 6. So I get to bring them on, and they'll get to make a move. And their move value is 30 centimeters. And I've decided these hedges are going to block line of sight unless you are directly next to them, and then you can see through it. And they have been ordered a single time. So now this HQ unit is going to attempt to order them a second time. They are now outside of the 20 inch, at least one of them is outside of the 20 inches. So they will have a -1 for that. Plus they've already been given an order. So they're going to need, instead of an 8 this time, they're going to need a 6 to activate. And they get an 8, so they are good. No, they are not. They failed their activation. 8 or less, or 6 or less. So they failed their activation. This HQ unit is going to attempt to bring on the remaining 3 tanks. And they will need an 8 to activate. And they have a 5, so they succeed. And again, we have a 30 centimeter movement. So they're going to deploy here, move up to there. They're going to attempt another order on them. They'll need a 6 as well. 6 or less. I rolled a 10, so they fail to activate. And that is the end of the U.S. turn. Before the end of the U.S. turn, the command units get an opportunity to take an action. So I'm going to have these HQs, they can move up to 40. So they're just going to get in position so they can give some command orders. So that one is going to go right there. This one is going to step up behind them. This unit is going to advance up here. And then my command officer can move up to 60. And he is just going to move here. Alright, and that completes the U.S. turn. So first for my Soviet forces, this HQ unit is going to activate these 4 T-55s. They're going to do a movement order, and they'll need, the command value is 7, but because they're all getting the same order, they get a +1 for the Soviet forces for the rigid tactical doctrine. So they will need an 8 or less to carry out this order. And I got a 7, so they'll be able to make their move. They're not quite as fast. Their movement is only 25. And they're in trees, so I need to do something for that. Alright, so they're in trees, so that is actually a -1 to the command roll. They rolled a 7, they needed an 8, so they still pass. So they're making their move. They're going to get a second order, and his command distance is 15, so they're going to be outside of that. They're not in terrain any longer. They're going to get another move order, so it starts at an 8, it goes to a 7 because they've already been activated once, and then it goes to a 6 because they are over the first range increment of for initiative. And I rolled a 6, so they succeed, so they can make another move. And they cannot see any targets, so they're going to go ahead and stop their movement there and not get another order. The command officer here is going to order this unit. I'm counting these fields as terrain, as dense terrain, so they will have a -1 for that. His command value is 8. He's going to give a movement order. Everybody's going to get the same. So it's a +1, goes to a 9, but the terrain is going to be a -1. So they'll need an 8 to activate. And they succeed, so they can make their move. And they're just going to advance up into these trees here. And this HQ is going to order these tanks to advance forward. They have a command value of 7. It is just a move. So they're all getting the same order of move, so it's +1. Goes to 8, moving through terrain. It's going to be a -1, so they need a 7 to activate. And I rolled an 8, so they failed their activation. So they will not be doing anything this turn. Commands, I can move my command vehicles forward. So I'm going to leave that HQ, this one where he is, because he's back here with this unit. However, these two are going to move forward. So the HQ has a movement of 40. So he's going to move right up here with this unit. And then this one has a movement of 60, and he is just going to go up here with that unit. And that is the end of turn 1. Alright, so for the US forces, first up, second turn, we're going to have to do your check for artillery again. Again, I'm going to roll a d6 to see where the artillery lands and see if it has any effect. So, number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this time it is going to do something here. So when the artillery hits, it has a 10 centimeter radius. So it is only going to hit these 3 units. But all 3 of those are going to be in it. So each of those is hit by 2 artillery attacks. Artillery only hits on units out in the open on a 6. So I need a 6 or better. Alright, so 2 artillery are coming in. Each of them have 3 attacks. So I'm going to roll 6 dice for this, and it needs a 6 to hit. And I got a single hit on that unit. And the next unit down, this one will have the same thing, 6 dice, and it is hit on a 6. And again, I got a single hit on it. And then the last unit, and a single hit. And now they get to roll saves. T-55 saves on a 4 or better, so here is its save. It did not save, so that stays in place. Now I'm going to roll to see if it's suppressed. So every unsaved hit, you roll a die. If it scores a hit, the unit is suppressed. So I need a 6 to see if it's suppressed. It is not. The next tank makes it save on a 4 or better. It's got to land in the box. It saves, so it does not suffer that hit. And the last tank needs a 4 or better to save. It does not save, and we'll see if it is suppressed. And it is not suppressed. I hope I did that right. It's very possible I did not. If I didn't, please let me know, and I'll try to do better next time. This HQ unit is going to order these 4 tanks. They're all within command. So it is an HQ, and the HQ has a command value of 8. So I need an 8 or better to succeed. And it's going to be just a move command. And I got an 8, so they get to make their move. And they have a 30 centimeter movement. They are going to get a second command that is going to be a move and fire order. So they've already received 1 order, so they need, but they're within 20, so they only need a 7 to receive this order. Oh, and they fail, they get an 11, so they're gonna stay there. Next up I have this unit. They're going to get a move unit, or move order, but they're going to get it from the commanding officer. So he has a command value of 9. They are going to be moving through terrain though, so they're going to need an 8 for their activation. And they failed with a 10. So that is the end of orders. HQ units and command units can move. And it is and that is the end of the American turn 2. I did not remove these hits from these units at the end of the US turn. One of the alternate rules that's been suggested I use is to leave hits in place, and I'm going to try that in this game, so those hits are going to stay there. We're going to attempt to activate this unit. They're going to get a fire order. They are up against the hedge line. There'll be a modifier for shooting through the terrain, but they're going to attempt to fire at that unit over there. The command value is 7 on that HQ unit. They'll need an 8 because the command value is 7, but they're all being ordered to do the same action, so they need an 8 or less to activate. And I rolled a 7, so they do activate. They're going to fire. It's check range. They have an 80 centimeter range on their guns, so they are all within half range. So they pass their activation. Each tank has 4 dice. They'll get a +1 because they're within half range. So each tank effectively has 5 dice, and they will need a 5 or a 6 to hit the target because they're shooting through the terrain. So I'm going to split fire between the front 2 tanks. This tank and this tank are each going to get 10 dice each. So the first tank here, 10 dice and a 5 or a 6 to hit. And I did not roll a single 5 or a 6. The second tank, same thing, 10 dice and a 5 or a 6 to hit. A little bit better. There are 3 hits on that one, but they do get their save, and their save is a 3 or better. So a 3 or better, they'll ignore those hits. And they ignored all 3 hits. So there's no suppression because there were no unsaved hits. So they're going to attempt another activation. Same thing. So they're going to try to fire on the unit. And this time they're going to need a 7 to activate. And they rolled a double 1, which means they get to do 2 activations. So they're going to fire twice. So they're going to do the same thing. 10 dice on the first tank and 10 dice on the second. You need 5 or 6s to hit. So here's the first shot. And there are 5 hits. And he's going to make saves. Needs 3 or better to save. And failed 1. So that tank has suffered a single hit now. And we're going to try to see if we can suppress it. And it is 1 die because it's only failed 1 save. And if it scores a hit, it's suppressed. It scores a hit, so that tank is suppressed. So now if it suffers any hits, it may run away. So the second tank is going to, or excuse me, the second half of fire is going to target the second tank. 10 dice, needs 5 to hit. And I have 3 hits on that tank. And we're going to roll saves. 3 or better to save. It suffered 1 hit. And we're going to roll to see if that tank is suppressed. And it is also suppressed. So our next activation, because they rolled double 1s, they get a free activation here. They are going to do the same fire, 10 shots and 10 shots. The first 10 on this tank. 5 to hit, if I can hit the box. We have 2 hits. So here's his saves. And he saved both. So he doesn't have to roll for suppression because he didn't suffer any hits. And he has no more additional hits. The second tank, 10 shots on him. Need 5 to hit. And we have 3 hits. He's going to make his saves. He needs 3 or better. And he saved all of them. Alright, well this unit is going to attempt to activate again. So it's been ordered twice. So start with an 8, 7, he needs a 6 now to activate. And again, it's just a fire order. And he rolled an 8, so they failed and they are finished with their activations. Next up, we're going to give this group here an order. They're going to get a they're going to get a move order. So they need an 8 to activate, and they got a 6, so they do. Their movement is 25. Yeah, and they're gonna come back here, get a little cover, but be able to see that group. So their second order is going to be to fire. And they're going to be outside of the first range increment for the command. So they will have, starts with an 8, and it goes to a 7, and then it goes to a 6. So they need a 6 or better in order to fire. And they get a 4, so they can. And 4 tanks, so 16 dice, and then +1 each because they're within half range, and they're shooting through terrain, so they'll need a 5 or a 6 as well. So 10 dice. We're going to continue to fire on these first 2 that we've already shot, so 10 and 10. 5 or 6. And I got a single attack hit. He's going to make a save. He needs a 3 or better. He passes the save. The second tank, or the second group of shots on the second tank, needs 5 or better. And we got 2 hits this time. And they're going to save on 3s. And he saves both shots. So we're going to attempt to activate them again. This time they're going to need a 5 in order to be able to attack 5 or less. And they got an 11, so they failed their activation. Next up we have the CO here. He's going to attempt... what is he going to do? He's going to stay there. He's not going to order anything. He doesn't have a shot on anybody, and he wants to stay in cover. So the command units can make a move. This one is going to just shift over here into the trees behind them. He's just going to shift a little bit. And that is the end of round 2 for the Russians. Alright, so this HQ unit is going to order these units. These 2 are suppressed, so they cannot do anything. These 2 are not, so they're going to fire on the unit in front of them. Check range. I know we're good, but... So we're about 35 centimeters. The M1 Abrams has a range of 120, so we're totally within that. They have 5 dice each. So I only have 10 dice to roll here. No, that'd be 12 dice. Each tank has 5 dice, +1 because the target is within half range. They're going to put all their shots together. They need a 5 or 6 because they're shooting through terrain. They're all shooting on that tank that is already have 1 hit on it. And I need a 5 or 6. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 hits on that unit. They're going to make their save. Their save is a 4 or better. And they make all 3, or they make 3. They fail 1 save. And now I'm going to roll to see if that tank is suppressed. He suffered 1 unsaved hit. And that is a hit, so that tank is suppressed. Soviets, they can take 5 hits before they're destroyed. We're going to attempt to activate them again. They've been activated once. Command is 8, so they need a 7 because this is second activation. Double 1, so they get to make 2 actions. So they're actually going to fire twice, just like the other guys did. So 12 dice. And again, we're shooting all on that single tank that's already been suppressed. Let's see if we can drive it off. So 5 or 6 to hit. And I have 3 hits on it. They need to make their save. Their save is a 4 or better. And he makes 2, but he fails 1. So I need to look up suppression. Alright, so that unit took 1 unsaved hit while it was suppressed, so I'm going to roll 1 die, see if it falls, or how far it falls back. If he had taken 3 hits, I'd roll 3 dice, add them together. If you are ever forced to fall back more than 10 centimeters, you are removed from the board because you've routed. I'm only rolling 1 dice, so the most he can fall back is 6 centimeters. And I rolled a 3. So he is going to fall back 3 centimeters, which is good for me because that means he'll have to make a move before he can attack next time. And I'm going to say he turns around. So you move directly away from the fire. And he's suppressed, so he won't be able to activate next turn anyway. So. So that was the first half of his second activation. He rolled double 1s, or that unit rolled double 1s, so they get to activate again. And so we have 12 more attacks. They're going to target the other tank there that is damaged. Same thing, 12 dice. I need 5 to hit him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits this time. They're going to make their save. They need a 4 or better to save. He saved 3, but he failed 2. And here's to see if he is suppressed. If either of these comes up to 5 or 6, he'll be suppressed. Neither of them did, so he is okay. So that was the second activation. I'm going to try to activate them a third time. They started at an 8, 7, 6. So I need a 6 to activate them this time. And I got a 12, which is a blunder, so that isn't good. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to roll a single d6. And I got a 3. Pullback. All unsuppressed units in the open half move directly away from the nearest visible enemy unit. So we're going to half move. So that is 15 centimeters directly away. And they are done. Well, that's unfortunate, but we got some good solid hits over there, so we'll take it. Those are going to go. Alright, so we're going to have this command officer attempt to order this unit of tanks here. They're going to get a move and fire order. And the command officer has a command value of 9, so we need 9 or less. And I got a 7, so they're going to advance up to this hedge line. and they're going to fire on those tanks. So again, we're about 34 centimeters away. So each tank has 5 dice. I have 3 tanks here. So that's going to be 15. We are within half range, so that is another die for each tank. We are going to focus all of our fire onto a single tank. And again, we're shooting through terrain, so I will need a 5 or a 6 to hit. With 18 dice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 hits. This is their save. They need a 4 or better to save. And they failed 2 saves. So that tank takes 2 damage. Let's get it kind of on camera over here. This tank here took 2. We're going to see if it is suppressed. I rolled 2 6s, so that tank is suppressed. Alright, and we're going to receive a second order from that command officer, and this time we're going to need an 8. And I rolled an 8, so they pass. They're going to take their attack again. It'll be the same thing, 18. $18 dice, needing 5s to hit him. Two, 3, 4, 5 hits. He gets to make his save on a 4 or a better. And he only saved 1, so he took 4 hits, which the Russian tank is only needs 5 hits to knock it out, so it is going to be knocked out of the battle. And I believe I have some smoke markers. So that is 1 tank knocked out of the Russian forces. We are going to attempt to activate again. Put some markers on these so I know how many times they've shot. They fired twice so far. So we're going to have... I need a 7 to activate them again for a fire order. A 12, which is another command blunder. That is no good. So let's see what they do. A 3, so they're going to fall back half move, just like the other unit did. So 15, straight back. And that is the end of orders for this side. Anytime your CO fails their orders, everybody's been ordered, but anytime the CO fails an order, then your turn is actually finished. You can move your HQ units, and I am not going to move them. I'm going to pick up these suppression markers on these units because they aren't suppressed any longer. And that is the end of the U.S. turn 3. Alright, we've got the Russian turn 3. So first we're going to order this unit. They're going to attempt to shoot at those 2 damaged tanks. They are within half range. So first activation is the fire command is 7. They get a +1 because they're all getting the same order. Need an 8. So an 8 to activate that. 4 tanks firing on those 2. And they get an 8, so they pass. We have 4 shots from each tank, +1. So we're just going to dump all the fire onto a single tank. So I've got 20 shots on one tank. I need a 5 or a 6 to hit it. We're going to go with the one that's closer to me. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. We're going to make saves. The American tanks save on a 3 or better. And it saved all 4 hits. So we're going to attempt to activate them again. This time they need an 8 to successfully activate. And they got a 7, so they activate. I've got 20 shots on them again. Need 5s or 6s to hit. 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. Here's a save. Failed 1 save, so they're going to take 1 more hit. We're going to see if it is suppressed. I need a 5 or a 6. It is not suppressed. We're going to try to activate them again. This time, they need a 6 to activate. And they got a 7, so they failed their activation. They are finished. This time I'm going to activate this unit. This unit's suppressed, so I've only got 3 tanks here. We're going to roll, and it's a fire order for those 3 tanks. And we need an 8 to activate. Roll a 5, so they do. We've got 5 shots from each of these tanks because the target is within half range. Actually, those tanks turned around to flee, so I might shoot at them because they're going to have less armor in their rear flank. And I get a bonus for shooting them in the flank. So 2 of them can see it, 1 of them cannot. So he'll save. So we get a +1 die for shooting somebody in the flank, right? Right at the flank or rear. And his saves are reduced by 1. They're over half range. Just trying to think through if it's a good idea to do it or not. Only 2 of them can fire. We're leaving hits on. Alright, so I'm going to do that. 2 of them are going to fire because they can see it at that back tank. 1 of them is going to fire at this one that suffered 2 hits. So it'll be 10 shots. They're over half. Start with 4. It's over half, so no plus there, but +1 because they're firing at the flank. So that's 5 dice per tank, and then the 1 has 4 dice, but it is within half. So he gets a +1. So here's the 10 on the tank in the rear that is running away. We need a 5 or 6 to hit. So I have 4 hits on it. And its save is reduced by 1, so he's only going to save on a 4 now. And he failed a single save. And we're going to roll to see if he is suppressed. On a 5 or 6, he is suppressed. He is. And now here's the 5 shots on the front tank. 5 or 6 to hit. There is a single hit. He's going to save. Needs a 3. He fails his save. So he has taken 3 hits now. And the American tanks, the M1 Abrams, are a little bit beefier, so they actually need 6 hits to be knocked out. We're going to roll to see if he is suppressed with 1 die. He is not. We're going to attempt to activate this unit a second time. They will need a 7 to activate. A double 1 again. I've gotten a lot of these. Double 1s, double 6s this game. So, the double 1, they're going to be able to activate twice, and I'm going to do the same thing. So 10 shots on the back tank that's fleeing, and then I'll have 5 on that front tank. So here's the ones on the back tank. 5 or 6 to hit. I got 2 hits on it. He's going to make his saves. He saves on a 4, 5, or 6 because he's being shot in the flank. He saved both, so no effect. The 5 shots on the front tank. 5 or 6 to hit. 1 hit. He'll save on a 3 or better. He rolled a 2, so he failed the save. And he is up to 4 hits right now. We're going to see if he is suppressed. He is suppressed. Actually, he is not suppressed, and he was not hit. This dice has a mark that makes it look like a 5, but there's the real 5, and that one just looks like a 5. So, he wasn't hit. I'm going to pull that dice out so I don't screw that up again. So that was the first part of their activation. They got the double 1, so they get to activate twice. So we have 10 shots on the back tank again. Hit on a 4, 5, or 6, and I've got 3, 4, 5 hits this time. He's going to make his saves on a 4 or better. And he fails 1. He is already suppressed. He just took 1 shot, so he's going to flee or fall back 1 dice. So he's going to fall back 4 centimeters. And then we have the 5 dice on the front tank. Need 5 or 6 to hit. And 1 hit. He needs a 3 or better to save. And he does save, so no effect. So that was their second activation. They're going to attempt another fire order. We need a 6 this time to activate. And we got a 6, so they've got another round of fire. We're going to do the same thing we did, so 10 shots on the back tank. 5 or 6 to hit. 2 hits. Saves on a 4, 5, or 6. Failed 1. And he is suppressed, so how far is he going to fall back? He's going to fall back another 4. And he's up to 3 hits right now. And we have 10 shots on the front. No, excuse me, 5 shots on the front. One hit. 3 or better save. He does not save. See if he is suppressed. He is not. That is their third activation. We're going to try one more time. See if we can get another round of shots off. We need a 5 or better, or 5 or less to activate this unit. And we got a 9, so they failed their activation. So they are completed. Next up, this command officer is going to attempt to order these 2 units. They're going to attempt to do a move action. So we start needing a 9, and they're moving through terrain, so they're going to adjust that, and they're going to need an 8 to activate. And they fail their activation. So that is it for the U.S. or excuse me, that is it for the Russian turn 3. So the command units can move. The CO is going to move. He's going to move right here. And that is, we're going to pick up that suppression marker. And that is it for the activations. Next, we're back to the U.S. turn. Now it's turn 4. This is the last chance for artillery for the American forces. We're going to roll again to see where that happens. I've got a D6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're actually in a danger zone there for the Americans are, so if I roll a 2 on this die, we might hit ourselves. But let's see what happens. I rolled a 3, which is going to be this, which is very nice for the Americans. We have a chance to knock out a couple tanks, maybe. So, it's going to affect all 4 of those tanks. Again, we have 2 units that are attacking. They have 3 hits, or 3 attacks each. So, they're going to be hit on a 6. First, we'll do this tank. On a 6, it will take a hit. And there are no hits. Next tank. I got 2 hits on it. It's going to make it save on a 4 or better. It saved neither, so it takes 2 hits. And we're going to see if it's suppressed. It is not. It's third tank, which has already suffered a couple of hits here. Needs 6 to hit. And I have 1 hit. See if it makes it save. It does not. And that is going to be another hit on it. And the next tank down the line. I got a single hit. Let's see if it can save. And it does. And then we have on the HQ unit. And I got 1 hit. It has a save of 6. Even though it looks like a tank, it's just a model to represent the HQ. It does not save, so it also takes a hit. And we need to roll to see if it is suppressed. Actually, I don't think command units get suppressed. So, we'll skip that. So that was my artillery. That was the last round of artillery, which wasn't bad. Did a couple of couple of hits, so we'll see if we can follow up on that to good effect. Alright, so we're going to start here. This HQ unit is going to order this group. So this tank is suppressed, it can't do anything. The other tanks here, they're going to get a move and fire order. Actually, I can split it. This tank is going to have a move and fire. These tanks are going to just have a fire order. So I need an 8 to successfully order that unit. So an 8 or less. I got a 6, so they get to activate. This tank is going to move first. It's going to bring them right back up here. I have 3 tanks. They have 5 dice. Normally the target is within half range. So they're going to have 6 dice apiece. And we're all going to fire at that tank that has suffered 4 hits. Because why not? Need 5s or 6s to hit it. Cock dice. 2, 3. 3 hits. That tank is going to save on saves on a 4 better. 3 hits. It saved 2, but it failed 1, which is going to be the 5th hit, which is going to knock that tank out. So I've knocked out 2 of the Russian tanks so far. I need to, I think, get 5 of them to break their group. That seems wrong. I think I need to get 6 of them to break their group. We're going to attempt to activate this unit again. This time we need a 7. We're going to give a fire order to everybody. We get a 6, so they get to activate. We're going to target this unit that has been hit twice. Fives or 6s to hit again. 1, 2, 3, 5 hits. He's going to save on 4s. He saved 3, he took 2, which puts him at 4 hits. We're going to see if he's suppressed. He is not suppressed. We're going to attempt to activate again. We're going to need a 6 this time to activate again for a fire order. And we got a 9, so they failed their activation. Alright, so next up, we're going to have this command unit order this unit. They're going to get a move and fire order. We need a 9 to activate. Got an 8, so they're going to move their 15, which will put them right back where they were. Each tank will have 5 dice plus 1 because they're within half range. So 18 dice, they're going to target that tank. So this unit is firing on that tank. Needs 5s or better to hit. Two, 3, 4, 5 hits. They're going to save on a 4. He saved 2, but he failed 3. We're going to roll to see if he is suppressed. So I have 3 dice. Need a 5 or a 6 on any of those. And I got a 6. So he is suppressed. We're going to attempt to activate again. This time it'll just be a fire order. I need a 8 this time to activate them. And we got a 9, so they failed. Boo. I can move HQ units. I'm not going to move anybody. I'm going to remove this suppression marker from this unit. And that is the end of turn 4 for the Americans. Now we go to the Russian turn 4. Seems kind of like a little bit of a stalemate here. I feel like maybe I need to do something. The Russians are in good positions to shoot. I think the Americans next time need to get out of there. I don't know. The Russians have the numbers. So anyway, alright, so first off, we're going to activate this unit for the Russians. And I left my stuff over here. Alright, we're going to attempt to activate here. We need an 8 for a fire order. They're going to fire on those group of tanks there. I got a 7, so they pass. We're within half range, so each tank is going to have 5 dice. So I've got 20 shots. We're all going on this tank right here. We need 5 or a 6 to activate, or not to activate, to hit the target. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's good shooting right there. Tank is going to make its saves. It saves on a 3 or better. And it failed a single roll. So that is up to 5 hits on it right now. We're going to roll to see if it is suppressed. It is not suppressed. We're going to roll to activate this group again. This time they are going to need a 7 to activate. And they rolled a 10, so they failed. They are finished for this round. We're going to come back to this group. We are going to... This unit is going to get a move and fire order. These two are just going to get a fire order, so they don't get the +1 this time to activate because they're not all getting the same order. So they'll need a 7 to activate. Actually, he's in terrain, so they're going to need a 6 to activate because he's got to move through that terrain. And they got a 9, so they failed their activation. Those lucky Americans just maybe saved themselves a little bit. And that was all off camera. I apologize. I needed to adjust my camera. So this unit made the fire on them. This unit just failed the activation, so they are not going to be doing anything. We're back here. This command officer is going to be ordering a single unit here. That's going to give it a move order. Start with a command value of 8, goes to a 9 because it's getting the same order, even though there's only one unit. But it's -1 because they're in the tree. So an 8 to activate. Then they got a 7, so they can make that move order. They're getting this unit out of here at least. He's going to go join the fight over here. So we've got a 25 centimeter move. I don't want to just be out in the open. Yeah, whatever. So that unit is going to give another order, a move order again. We need an 8 this time. It's the second activation, but they're not in terrain. Yeah. They're going to move through terrain, so they'll need a 7 actually. 9. Alright, wait. So they've been ordered once. Start with an 8, goes to a 9 because it's the same order. -1 for 1 activation. So it's an 8. They need an 8 to activate. And I got on 11, so it failed. So he's going to stay parked there. That was not the best turn for the Russians, but that's okay. They're still in the fight. That's what I like about this game. These activation rolls are actually pretty interesting. The way they can sway the battle. Leave people kind of out in the open occasionally, like what we got there. So we're up to turn 5 for the U.S. I do feel like the U.S. is just outnumbered right now, and if they don't get some better hits on some of these guys or block some of this, they're gonna end up being hurt real bad. So we're gonna move a little bit, I think, or try to, just so we're exposed to less fire. To start with, this HQ unit is going to order these 4 units. They're going to get a this unit is going to get a move order. These 3 are going to have a move and fire. So we need an 8 to activate them. And they got a 10, so they are done. Ouch. Boo. Alright. This CO is going to order these 3. They're going to get a move and fire order. And they need a 8 to activate because they're going to be moving through terrain. And they also rolled a 10, which means they don't get to activate. So, nothing good for the Americans this time. We're going to go back over to the Russian turn. Alright, so this unit here, they're going to attempt to activate. They're going to get a fire order. All of them are getting the same order, so they get a +1, so it'll be an 8 to activate. And they get a 6, so they do. Each of the 4 tanks gets 5 dice with their +1 for being within half range. So that is 20 dice. We're piling them all on the same tank. We're going to stick them on this one that has been beat up. Suffered 5 hits so far. 5 or 6 to hit. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hits. Here's the saves. Needs 3 or betters. And he failed 2, so that is going to kill the M1 Aram on the American side. And that is a significant loss for the Americans. They only have 7 tanks, so losing 1 is a big loss to them. We're going to activate this unit again. They're going to get a fire order, and they're going to need a 7 to activate. And we got an 8, so they're done. Alright, this HQ unit is going to activate these 3 tanks. 2 of them are going to get a move and fire order. 2 of them are going to get a fire order. And they're going to be moving through terrain. Some of them will be moving through terrain. So, starting at a 7, and it's a -1 because of the movement through terrain. So they need a 6 to activate, and they got a 4, so they succeed. Moving and shooting, you get to move half your speed, so they get to move 12.5 centimeters. So this guy is just going to turn around and cozy back up to this hedge line. And this guy is going to step up and park it next to the hedge line too. Alright, and so now they have that move and fire. Everybody's moved, so now that we've got 4 tanks that are going to fire. Each of them will have 5 dice because they're within half range. So that is 20 dice again. we are going to target all of our shots on this unit. That looks like it's only taken one so far. We need 5 or 6 to hit it. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it's going to make it saves. It saves on a 3 or better. Uh-oh, it failed 2. So it's up to 3 hits. We're going to roll to see if it's suppressed. And it is suppressed. So that was the unit's first activation. We're going to attempt to activate it again. Everybody is going to get a fire order. So this time we'll need a 7 to activate. And we got a 5, so they do. We have 20 shots again going on that M1 Abram. And they need 5s or 6s to hit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's going to make it save. That needs a 3 or better save. And it failed 2. So it is hurting right now, and it's going to roll for fallback because it is suppressed. So 2 dice, it could be routed from this fallback. And I rolled a 10, which I believe the fallout is if you roll 10 or more. That is wrong. If you roll more than 10, it is routed. So this one is not routed. It is, however, going to fall back 10. So it falls back 10 centimeters from the closest visible enemy. And this unit is going to attempt to activate again and fire. And so they need a 6 or less to activate this time. And we got an 8, so they fail their activation. The CO is going to make an order on that unit. He's going to do a move order, so he needs a 9 or less. And he got a 3, so that unit gets to make a move, and it's going to consolidate back up with its other crew over here. B-1 because it's moving through terrain. Still made it with his roll of 3, but the terrain does affect it. So he's got a move of 25, so he's going to book it to there. The CO is going to give him another move order. This time he'll need a 7 because he's going to move through terrain. And they got a 9, so he failed his activation, and that is the end of turn 5. So we're on to turn 6 for the US. Alright, turn 6 for the U.S. forces. Let's see if we can't actually succeed at some activations this time around. So, this HQ unit is going to attempt to activate this unit and this unit. It is going to need an 8 to activate them, and they are going to do a move order. They succeed. So, we can go 30. I didn't roll for, I did include terrain in that roll, so I'm not going to move them into the terrain. We're going to give them a second activation. Let's see how far away they are. So this time we're going to give a move and fire order. So they've been activated once, and they're over outside of the first range increment, so they're going to need a 6 to activate with a move and fire order. And they got an 8, so they failed. Next up, we have this group here. They're going to get, the CO is going to give these 3 tanks a move order. They do need to move through terrain, so that'll be a -1. And that means they need an 8 to activate. I got a 5, so they do get to go. And let's see. I'm gonna get there. There. Alrighty. So we're going to give them a fire order now. They are outside of 20, so it is their second activation. So I'm going to need a 7 to activate them with a fire order. And I got a 4, so they get to make a fire. They're going to shoot at this tank here. And we have, they're within half range, so each tank is going to get 6 dice. There's 3 tanks. And this time, their target is out in the open, so they're going to hit him on 4 or better. I really should kill this tank with this fire. 4 or better. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 18 is not exactly good odds, but that's okay. The tank gets to make his saves. He saves on a 4 or better. He only failed 1, so good for him. We're going to try to, or we're going to roll to see if he is suppressed. So he took 1 hit, so he is not suppressed. We're going to give them another fire order. This time I need a 5 to succeed at the activation. And they failed. So that is it for the U.S. turn. This tank is no longer suppressed, so I'll pick that up. And we'll start on Russian turn 6. Alright, so this unit this group of tanks is going to be activated by this HQ. They're going to take a fire order on this tank immediately in front of them. Yeah. He's a good target. He's already got some damage, but he's over half, so they don't get a +1 die. So they're going to target this unit right in front of them with a fire order. So they need an 8 to activate. And they rolled a 10, so they are not activating. We're going to activate this group of tanks from at the end of my US turn, I need to move my HQs. So, my CO is going to move up here with these guys. This HQ is going to move up there also. This HQ is going to move into the woods here. This HQ is going to move out here. Alright, back to the Russian turn. So, this group here, they see these tanks coming at them. They're a little bit worried about that, so we're going to go ahead and activate over there. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tanks. We're going to do a move, because they don't all have lines of fire, so we're going to move, readjust. It's a little bit risky, but I think that's the best option right now. So, nobody's going to move through terrain. Everybody's within command distance of the HQ. So, we need an 8 for a move order. And I rolled a 9, so they are going to sit there. Alright, well, the HQs can move. The CO wants to move because he doesn't want to be out there exposed. And this HQ is going to shift over here. Kind of swap positions a little bit. And this HQ is happy where he is. Alright, well we're going, it's going to be turn 7 for the US. The game is almost over. Nobody has achieved their objectives yet, but those Russian tanks are a little bit beat up right now. So, we are going to look at the camera, see where it's at. Alright, first up, this HQ is going to order these 3 tanks. We're going to give a move order to all 3 of them. Yeah. So we need an 8 to do that. We're all within command distance to him. This tank, he's pretty beat up. He's actually just going to come hide. I don't want to lose him. It's not the best for... He won't be effective for firing anymore, but I don't want to lose the tank. So, a move order. We need an 8 to activate them. They get a 5, so they can do that. We have 30 centimeters with move. So this guy is just going to come park it back here. These guys are going to attempt to flank these guys. So you get to go 30 there. And you're going to go 30 there. Alright, so that's one command for them. They're going to be ordered again. This time we're going to do a move and fire. So, start with an 8, needs a 7. They're over a range increment for command, so we need a 6 to activate them. And they failed with a 7. So close. That's okay. They'll be set up nice for the next round. And nobody has a line of fire on them because they're off that hedge over there. So if that group of tanks wants to shoot them, they're going to have to move and you can't see them. There we go. So I moved them. They're off that hedge. If these tanks want to attack them, they're going to have to make a move to be able to see them. Alright, so next up I have this group here. The CO is going to give a move and fire order, so I need a 9 to activate them. And I got a 5, so that's successful. So we can move half our speed. Which was kind of dumb because my target is in the open. Alright. Well, we're going to, I guess, get ourselves exposed here. Or, no. Let's do this. Alright. So we're not completely exposed to everybody. So we're going to attempt to fire now. We're going to shoot at this tank who's out in the open. He has 4 hits. So I have 18 dice. He only needs 1 hit. Alright, we're going to split, which is always a bad idea. That goes with this guy. No, we're not splitting. We're going to kill that tank. So I have 18 dice on the guy in the open. I need 4s to hit him. Lots of hits. $12 hits. He's going to save. He saves on 4 better. He failed several, so he is going to be knocked out. So another burning Russian tank. I don't have many of those yet, but I'm working on getting more. So that's 3 I need to get. 6 tanks. So I'm halfway to the break point. I am at 25% casualties though, so that's good. So I've achieved a I've achieved a minor objective, at least the Americans have. So we're gonna attempt to activate these guys again. That was his first activation. We're still within 20, right? Yeah, we're within 20 of the CO. So it's the second activation though. I need an 8 to activate them. They're gonna get a fire order if I succeed. It's not in the box. Alright, I got a 6 for their activation, so they succeeded. They're gonna fire on that tank there. He's undamaged, but they can see him. I consider that one hedge in that corner. Shooting through there, they can't see him because they're not adjacent to that hedge. So I'll have 18 dice again, and I'm going to need 5s or 6 to hit this time. One, 2 hits out of 18 dice. Not the best. He's going to make a save on a 4, and he fails both. Lucky me. We're going to roll to see if he's suppressed. He is. So he took 2 hits and is suppressed. I'm going to attempt... I'm going to attempt a move and fire action. So 9, 8, 7. I need a 7 to succeed at this activation. And I got a 7. So we get to make a move and then we can fire. So I'm trying to get up here so I can fire at him without having to shoot through the hedge. I should overrun that HQ and just not get out of here. That is their 3rd activation. So I'm not flanking them, but I am not shooting through the terrain anymore. So we're going to have 18 dice on these. Need 4s to hit. I will pull the misses out. Alright, I got 9 hits on him. He gets to make his save of 4 or better. He saved 2, which means he's going to be knocked out also. Alright, we're going to attempt another activation. I think I'm going to have to roll pretty well. So, at least one of the units is outside of range increment, so that's -1. This is their 4th activation, so that'll be -3. So, total of -4. I need a 5 or less to activate this unit, and we are going to we're going to fire. We're going to just try to shoot that tank. So a 5 or less. And I missed it with a 6. So that is the end of the U.S. turn 7. On to the Russians. Turn 7. We only played it 8 rounds, so we'll see how this goes. Alright, so first Alright, this group here, we're going to attempt to move and fire. We're going to move through terrain. No, we're not. Don't have enough distance. They're going to attempt to just move for starters. So they need a 7. Excuse me, they need an 8 to activate. And they got an 8. So they're going to make a move. Move 25. So that is their first activation. Their second activation is going to be a fire order. They're going to need a 6 to succeed because they're outside of range of him. 6. And they got a 5, so they succeeded. They're going to put all their fire into that back tank, who is already damaged. So we have 4 from each tank plus 1 because it was within half range. So I've got 20 dice on this tank back here. 5. And they are in the open, so they need 4 to hit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Hits. Their tank's going to save, needs 3 to save. And he failed 2. Which puts him at 5 hits, but he's still in combat. He needs 6 to be knocked out. He is going to see if he's suppressed. And he is not suppressed. Lucky, lucky, lucky. I failed to move up my COs for the Americans again, so I'm going to do that now. He's going to move there. He's going to move there. This HQ is going to take the woods with him. He is going to park it there. CO's parking there. Alright. Back to the Russians. We're going to attempt to activate this unit again. This will be their 3rd activation. They're going to get another fire order. So I'll need a 5. 5 or less to activate them for the fire. And I got it. That's no good for the Americans. So I'm going to shoot that tank again. 20 dice. He only needs 1 more hit and he's going to be knocked out. 4 or better. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 13 hits. Well, that's not looking good. Saves on 3s. Fails 1. He is out. And he only failed 1 out of 13. There's only 1 dice that's less than 3. But that'll do it. So he is knocked out of action. And let's see. That is 2 American tanks knocked out of action, which is 25% casualties for the American forces. So that is a minor victory achieved for the Russians. A minor objective achieved for the Russian forces. Alright, we're going to try again to activate this unit. He's going to need a 4 this time to successfully activate. And he got it. So, lucky, lucky, lucky. Alright, they're going to fire on that closer tank. 20 dice, needing 4s to hit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He needs 3s to save. And he failed a single roll. So he takes a single hit. We're going to roll to see if he is suppressed. 4 better. And he is. That's going to hurt him a lot. Because he can't do anything on his turn, so he's going to be exposed there. And it's I only need 3 tanks destroyed on the American side to cause a to reach the break point. So we'll see what happens here. All right, so this CO is going to order these tanks. I've got 3 tanks here. We're going to do a move and fire. Oh. If we just moved, we could flank those tanks and hopefully have a successful second activation. So let's try that. Alright, so the CO is going to order these 3 tanks to take a move action. They got to move around some halts, so they are going to go through some terrain. So we need an 8 to activate them for a move. And they rolled a command blunder. Boxcars. So let's see what the effect of that is. It doesn't count. So a 4. A 4 is pull back. So they are going to pull back half their move directly away from the nearest visible enemy, which is them. So they're going to go this way. 12 and a half. That hurt them a lot. Ouch, ouch, ouch. And that is going to end the activation. We do get to make some moves. So we can move 40 with the HQ. 60 with the CO. He's going to come over here. This HQ is going to come over and get closer to them. And that is the end of the Russian turn. So this is turn 8. This is the final turn of the game. And let's see what we can do. Those tanks fleeing from the Americans there have exposed their flank, which is going to make them much easier to hit, and they'll fill their saves much more it's much more likely they'll fail their saves. So over here, I got nothing going on because that guy's, that guy is suppressed, so he can't make any actions. So the commanding officer here is going to activate these guys. We're going to do a move and fire. Right? I can do a move and then a move and fire. Alright, we're going to do a move. So to do the move, I need a 9. I'll move through there. We get a 6. They succeed. Alright. So now they're outside of 20. So they've been activated once. So they need a 7 to activate. They're going to do a fire order. So they also got a command blunder. Lucky, lucky, lucky. What do? They got a 1. Cease firing. Roll 1 die, and the command unit takes this number of attacks from firing. The command unit will be hit on a 4+ in all situations. Roll for suppression is normal, and if suppressed, the command value of the command unit is reduced by 1 for the duration of the player's next turn. Well, okay. Roll a D1 die, and the commander takes that many number of attacks. The commander takes 3 attacks. Command unit is hit on a 4+. So he takes 2 hits. I assume he gets to save, so 2 hits, his save is a 6. He saves 1 of them, so he takes 1 hit. And then we're going to roll to see if he is suppressed. 4 better, because that's what I need to hit him, so he is suppressed. And that means he'll have a -1 on his next turn's command value, but this is the last turn, so that won't have any effect. So, that is the end of the American turn. It is the Russians' turn. And now they have the opportunity to do a lot of damage, because the Americans failed to take advantage of the opportunity that they had. Alright, so first off, we're going to do this over here. The Russians are going to attempt to activate this unit for a fire order on that. We've got an 8 to succeed on that activation. And they do succeed. It is 5 from each tank. So 20 dice, 1 tank. He's had 1 hit so far. We need a 4 better to hit him. He saves on 3s. What do we got? 3, 6, 9, 11 hits. And he failed 3 saves. So he's up to 4 hits. We're going to roll 3 dice to see if he is suppressed. And he is suppressed. We are going to attempt to activate that unit again. Now this time they need a 7. And they failed, they got a 9, so he at least isn't dead. Alright, and now we've got this mess right here where they're running away. So, the CO is going to attempt to order them. They're going to do, they got to turn around, so they have to move. So they're going to do a move and fire. They're in terrain, or one of them is in terrain, so that's going to be a minus. So, they're going to need an 8 to activate. And they got a 3, so they will activate. I said a move and fire. I should have just had a move, because then they could have got to the flank. But that's okay. Yeah. So he's going to go here. He's going to go there. He's going to go right there. Alright. So I have 3 tanks. Each of them has 5 dice. Super close quarters right now. Which probably isn't real accurate, but whatever. Alright, so all of the shots are going on that tank right there. I need 4s to hit because they're in the open. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're going to make their saves. They need 3 to save. And he failed 3 saves. So we're going to roll to see if he's suppressed. And he is suppressed. Next order. If I move and fire, I can get a flank shot. But I also have more chance of failing the roll. So they're just going to fire. They're going to sit and fire. So, this is their second activation. They're close. So they only need an 8 to succeed at the activation. And they got a 10, so they failed. Lucky. Alright, so that brings us to the end of the game. The Russian forces lost 4 tanks, and the American forces lost 2 tanks. So both were reduced to 25%, but neither was brought to the break point. Well, looking at who won, the U.S. forces achieved a minor objective, which gives them 2 points. The Soviet forces also achieved a minor objective. And then you look at which side inflicted more points of casualties. So you count up the points of dead units and compare them, and whichever side did more, you get some bonus points. So it's very, very close. The Soviet Union killed 2 M1 Abrams, which is 460 points. The U.S. forces killed 4 T-55s, which is 440 points. So technically, the Soviet Union killed more points, so they get a +1 victory point as well. So that brings them to 3 versus the U.S. 2, which means the Soviet forces won a minor victory, which I almost call shenanigans. I think this is a pretty evenly matched fight, but that's the rules, so whatever. It was a fun game. I enjoyed this a lot. The artillery was interesting. I think it would work better either having a forward artillery observer so I could call in and direct it into specific places, but the way I set up this battle, it had to be scheduled, so that's fine. I liked the mechanic I used for rolling the die. As I moved my forces up, I ended up being in a position where I could have hit myself with the artillery, which is also kind of interesting. The Russian forces, of course, could have just completely moved away from those points, but I didn't do that. I'm running both sides. They didn't know where the artillery's coming in, so I tried to just make the best play for them in each position. Of course, when you're playing against somebody else, the decisions that they make could be completely different than what you choose to do. But I still think this game works pretty well as a solo option. You got to control both sides. You kind of do whatever. I think I failed to do any reactionary fire. I'm not sure what they call it in this game, but I know I didn't do any. And there could have been some opportunity there. Neither side did it though, so I'm not really worried. I think it worked. I did remember to do the suppression this time. Had some units falling back that way. Didn't force anybody to get wiped out with it. But again, I am enjoying Cold War Commander. It was a fun game. I look forward to playing this some more. If you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this and all the different projects that I work on, you can subscribe to my channel. And if you have any questions or if you saw any rules that I got wrong, you can put them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.